It didn't need to be this way. It did not need to be this way. All of the so-called anti-woke people could have just tried to get along. We could have put aside our differences and said, "You know what? There's a greater good here, and the left is effing crazy, and there is a greater good, and so we might as all well try to work together to achieve the greater good." But no. No. That is not the way the world works. At least not on the internet. Let's see, Tayton. I don't know what the fuck to do with my daughter. She's 4, born Friday, December 13th. And she tells us she will pack her stuff and move houses. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what that means. Your 4-year-old's moving out? Okay. I mean, she'll have to go find a job and a place to live, I guess. Are parents even allowed to say that stuff anymore? By the way, are you allowed to basically say to your kids, if you don't like my rules, go find a job and get your own place? I don't know. I don't even know if parents are allowed to do that anymore, or would that be like some form of child abuse? Thank God I don't have kids. That would you guys know exactly. Anyway. It's funny they say I like kids too much, and then they can't explain why I don't actually have kids. I'm around kids and never around kids. Make an extra effort not to be around kids. This is why we can't have nice things. Exactly. This is why we can't have nice things. All right. Well, here we are again. The haters will be reeing again, but I really don't care, because you know what? Multiple years of having to deal with internet nonsense every single day of my life have driven me to the point where I have run out of many fucks. Now, some of you may not know this because, and I'm not gonna play it, but I'll tell you about it. You guys know I have a horde of stalkers on Twitter. That it would probably be better. By the way, if you're new to Nitwits, this is a drama stream. If you don't want drama, go somewhere else. There's plenty of other content to watch on the internet, but this is where I get to work out my feelings on the internet, okay? If I have to be here all day, every day, I'm going to use it as my own personal form of therapy, and that's just the way it's going to be. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Alex likes it, though. Alex, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I really do appreciate it. So I have this, no. Nope. I would never do that, bot. I would never, ever, 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 ever do that. So I have a horde of stalkers on the internet, and they tweet about me all the time. Deb Fillman is part of that horde of stalkers. And it's really funny because part of the calling card of the horde of stalkers is that every time I say something is good, they have to say it's bad, which is kind of funny because it's kind of like I control them, right? If no matter what you do, someone else is going to react to you, then you kind of control them. This is like when one of the members of the horde of stalkers, like a couple years ago, every time I said Carrie Smith's name, because Carrie Smith is like the queen town crier of the horde of stalkers. Every time I said Carrie Smith's name, this one girl would give Carrie Smith like $2 or something. Like she'd send her like a $2 super chat or a donation or something like that. So every time I tweeted about Carrie, that person paid Carrie $2. Every time I posted about Carrie, every time I mentioned Carrie on a video when Carrie was carrying on about me on the internet and talking about me all the time and emailing people about me and doing all this stuff, every single time I mentioned Carrie's name, one of Carrie's obsessive fans would pay Carrie $2. Now, let me explain to you how stupid that is. Because exactly, it's literally as though I was given the keys to that person's checking account. There was no disincentive for me to not talk about Carrie. I don't care what someone else does with their money. It's none of my business. If you want to spend your money on stuff, then why would I care? But what was great about it was she literally gave me the power to spend her money. Money, by the way, that she probably would have given to Carrie anyway. But she wanted to make this big public show of like Carlin talks about Carrie so much that I'm going to pay Carrie money every single time Carlin talks about her. Well, like, what disincentive do I have then? I can literally cause both of you pain at the same time. So that was dumb. That was dumb. But what Deb is doing here is even more dumb. Because Deb is taking a position against something that is obviously the only clear strategy to actually accomplishing anything in the public schools. Deb is making a whole video about why cameras in classrooms are not a good idea. And the reason that Deb is taking this position is not because Deb actually believes it, because Deb doesn't really actually believe much of anything. The reason that she is taking this position is because I am the one back in 2021 that made the idea of cameras in classrooms go viral on the internet to the tune of 2 million effing views. And then Matt Walsh stole my idea and pretended it was his and used literally every single talking point I had been using about it. Like, I mean, verbatim. And if you don't believe this, I literally wrote about cameras in classrooms in my book, which I wrote in 2021, the beginning of 2021. And then all of a sudden, Matt Walsh is gallivanting around on Tucker Carlson pretending it's his idea when he did nothing with it. Anyway, this was my idea. And I was the one that made this idea go viral. And then because it was my idea, and people still talk about this to this day, Deb has to be on the opposite side of cameras in classrooms. Even though Deb, like, the idea that we can have cameras in every single part of the school, to include the hallways, the school buses, the gymnasiums, like every kid has a cell phone, but the one place that you can't have a camera, the one place that is just a bridge too far is the fucking classroom. Kids are literally filmed from the moment they leave their houses. There are even cameras on the sidewalks. Kids are filmed from the moment they leave their houses all the way up until they go into the classroom, and then the camera shuts off in the classroom, and that is the only sacrosanct place. And then as soon as they leave the classroom, they are filmed in every single location until they get home again. And you're telling me the public school classroom is the only place that we just can't put a video camera? Okay. Yeah, sure. Definitely makes sense. Let's see. I just want to go through the chat real quick. No, I don't want to do that anymore. Carrie is now in a Christian cult. She's a cultist. She's very Christian, Nathaniel. She's very like Carrie is so even boring to look at now. Like I barely even check in on Carrie because Carrie mostly stopped talking about me. Like I only cared about Carrie to the extent that like she was like spreading bullshit on the internet about me. But she's mostly stopped, so like whatever. I don't care that she's a Christian cultist. I don't care that she sounds like a robot. Nothing to complain about. But Deb still complains about me all the effing time. And so as long as Deb wants to run her mouth on Twitter, I will make as many videos as I want about Deb, and Deb can have all the feelings she wants about it. I don't really care. Let's see. Let me just scroll through the chat. I know you were kidding, Nathaniel. Don't worry about it. Yeah, they put cameras in locker rooms, okay? You're telling me we can put a camera in the locker room, but we can't put a camera in the classroom? Really? So, I asked the internet, do you want me to make a reaction video to Deb's video about why we can't put cameras in classrooms? And I got to tell you, most of the time when I ask my audience, do you want me to do a reaction video to one of these stalker crazy people? They're kind of like, no, Carlin, don't engage in the bullshit. Don't engage in the drama. Just focus on your work. And usually that's good advice. However, in this particular case, they really wanted me to react to the video. Like there was an overwhelming, like, yes, Carlin, we want you to do a reaction to this video. And so who am I to judge? Like, I mean, I'm here. I am but a lowly YouTuber that is just, here for your entertainment. And if you demand that I react to Deb Fillman's video about why cameras in classrooms won't help, which is absolutely wrong, who am I to say no? Really? Everyone else is captured by their audience. Can I have a little bit of audience capture too, if it's what people want? I mean, it's like Friday night, What else are we going to do? We could be out having fun. We could be watching movies. We could be drinking. We could be gambling. We could be getting laid. We could be doing any number of things, but here we are. Here we are. Conservatives will misconstrue the information from the cameras in classrooms. LOL. Lose lose. Yep. 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 I mean, I feel like I'm providing a responsible counterpoint to Deb's point, because I actually do feel strongly about this issue. This is not something I'm making up. I feel very strongly that cameras in classrooms should be a thing. I think it should be legislated into reality. I don't know what the hell is like preventing anyone from doing this. Cameras in classrooms. Listen, hang on. Before I go into a rant on cameras in classrooms, I'm going to pour my beer. This is my second beer. This is the beer I wanted to have on happy hour earlier. Hang on. This is more important because my throat is dry and I need to drink. So this is a coffee blonde stout, and I wanted to drink this earlier and my audience didn't let me. They wanted me to drink some pink guava thing that really kind of tasted like a grapefruit, and I drank it, but I really wanted this blonde stout because I like blonde stouts and I never get to have them. No, I'm not drinking the 11% beer. No, we're going to do that tomorrow. That's tomorrow for Socialism Saturday. All right, let's see. I'm telling you guys, blonde stouts are awesome. And there's not enough breweries making them, and they're really good. If you're drinking something fun, let us know in the chat. Again, this is Last Chair Brewery, Cannonball, Coffee Blonde Stout. Cheers, everyone. Happy Friday. See, it's like a mind fuck when you drink one of these things because it does taste like a coffee stout. But it looks like a crisp lager. Win-win for me. Okay. Back to Deb. So, why do I think cameras in classrooms are a good idea? I am not unswayed by the argument that we don't need more surveillance. Okay? Valid point. I'm not in favor of surveillance, which seems to be contradictory to camera in classrooms, right? But what I do know is that the public schools are completely effed. And we made more headway against the public schools during COVID when everyone was I'm going to hit this beer right off this desk. When everyone was like looking over their kid's shoulder onto their Zoom calls to see what they were actually learning. We very literally had cameras in classrooms during COVID because the kid was sitting at the kitchen table and the parents, for the first time probably ever, could see what their kids were actually learning. So we already had it. And the thing of it is it would have been much more effective to try to legislate this, I don't know, in 2021 when I originally proposed it, before Matt Walsh effing skewered it. It would have been much more helpful to do it then because it's like literally you have the argument right in front of you. We are operating with cameras in classrooms right now. You are teaching over the internet. You have all the equipment to do this. You have the technology to do this. So why aren't we just doing it when the kids go back to school, right? And again, I get the surveillance argument, but I think the greater good is making the public aware of what is actually going on in public schools. If parents can't see what is actually going on in the classroom, then they don't know what they don't know, right? And so I just think this is a matter of priorities. I'm not in favor of surveillance, but I'm also not in favor of the public schools being completely captured with bullshit. And literally, the only thing standing in our way is putting a camera in the classroom where you can make a live feed available to parents of kids in that class over the internet, completely secure. And they already have the ability to do this. We're not talking about posting them live on a website or something that anyone could log on and watch. We are talking about parents being given access to observe things they pay for in an area where their kid is spending like 6 to 8 hours a day. If you work in a bank, you have a camera in your workplace. If you work at a store at the mall, you have a camera in your workplace. If you are a police officer, you have a camera strapped to your body. If you are a school bus driver, you have a camera on the damn school bus. It's already on the school bus. The precious darlings are already on camera. So really, what are you gaining by preventing cameras in the one place that they could actually expose what's really going on? Exactly, Moxie. There's childcare, there's doggy daycare. You can literally log on to an app and see your kids at daycare or see your dog in the doggy daycare. But we don't have cameras in classrooms? That's ridiculous. You can have the camera pointed at the teacher's desk. You don't have to have it on the little darlings. Have it pointed at the board or wherever the teacher does their presentations. And then if the teacher starts not doing their presentations in that area, that's an opportunity to ask why. What are you trying to hide? So stupid. If conservatives did this, this would actually be a million times more effective than school choice. Honestly. And as Mary says, there are already cameras on the outside of these buildings. And by the way, private schools are already doing cameras in classrooms. They're already doing it. So this is literally like a copy and paste. And if this had been done under COVID, they would have been able to force school districts to use COVID money to buy the goddamn equipment to do cameras in classrooms. I mean, it boggles my mind why this is even controversial. It boggles my mind why this hasn't been picked up and run with by someone who can make these laws and policies. I tried in New Hampshire. There were legislators in New Hampshire. There were state reps that were interested in this idea, and then it kind of went nowhere because the teachers unions wouldn't allow it. And of course, Republicans in New Hampshire are such fucking pussies that they can't stand up to the teachers unions. Republicans in New Hampshire are in the back pocket of the goddamn teachers unions. So it wasn't going to happen here anyway, but that doesn't change the point. This should be a no-brainer for conservatives, but it's not. Deb had a little Twitter thing earlier where apparently Deb is getting some pushback on this video. So let's see what her response was to it. Sad at how many people are still arguing with me. Apparently, they think taxpayer-funded state surveillance in every classroom all the time makes people behave better. Provably, it does, Deb, actually. And they want to pay for it because it's better than nothing. Yes. Exactly. Deb, there is very clear psychological research to say that when you know you're being watched, you behave differently. That is very, very clear in the literature. So when you say, apparently they think taxpayer-funded state surveillance in every classroom all the time makes people behave better, exactly. When people know they are being watched, they don't behave like assholes, okay? And we want to pay for it because it's better than nothing. Yes. Having a camera in the classroom is better than not having a camera in the classroom. I don't even know why we're arguing about this. This is like common sense. Our overlords are laughing their asses off. Look at how easy it was to get them to beg to spend their money to surveil their children. Deb, they're already surveilled on the sidewalk. They're surveilled on the school bus. They're surveilled in the hallways at school. They're surveilled on the outside of school. They're surveilled in the gym. They're surveilled in the locker rooms, apparently. They're surveilled in the auditoriums. They all have cell phones where they're filming each other anyway. And you're going to tell me that the classroom, The actual classroom where the actual indoctrination is taking place is a step too far. Have you lost your mind? For our next trick, watch us get them to beg us to eliminate teachers altogether and replace them with AI. I'm not actually opposed to this idea, depending on who controls the AI. Now, hear me out. I know that AI, a lot of AI is evil and woke, and this is actually a topic I want to think about some more. But would I eliminate every certified public school teacher today if I could? Yep. Yup. Now, I don't wanna replace them with AI, though. I wanna replace them with, like, average people off the street that will teach, like, practical life skills and things like that. I'm not arguing to replace them with AI, although I think if and I'm saying that I'm not saying this is a reality, I'm pontificating on what would be required, okay? If we could be sure that the AI used to teach the children was non-biased on either side, then yeah, I would yes, yeah, I would replace teachers with AI. Yep, I would. Not even a second thought about it. I think that AI would be better at teaching kids how to do math. I think AI would be better at teaching kids how to write. I think AI would be better at teaching kids how to read. Now, there is a drawback to that, of course, in that people can become dependent on AI and not actually learn how to do it themselves. Okay, fine. That's something that needs to be thought through, but do I think that in general, if it was a non-woke AI, and I'm talking like I'm not in favor of a conservative AI either. I don't want it to be on either side, which I know again this is an unrealistic thing, but again I'm pontificating. Like if that could happen, yes, AI would be better than most teachers today. Absolutely. 100%. Not even a question. If there's one lesson schools have taught better than any other, it's the false dichotomy. Too many people sincerely believe the only way to solve problems created by the state is with more state power. Deb, they already have the power, Deb. They already have the power. To say that this is giving more power to the state could already do this if Deb, do you not realize the state already has the power to do it? Are there laws against putting cameras in classrooms? The state literally already has the power to do this. They just haven't done it because the state controls the schools. The state is what controls the schools. If the state wanted you to see what the state was teaching your kids, then they would damn well show it to you. But the state doesn't want you to see what it's teaching your kids. Putting cameras in classrooms is using the legislative power of the government against the government, Deb. You know, someone asked me several months ago, like, what do you mean when you say a libertarian law? And that's a fair question because, like, I'm an anarchist. I don't believe the government should exist, right? What do you mean when you say a libertarian law? What I mean when I say a libertarian law is a law that restricts the power of the state. The law that eliminates state power and state control over average people, or at least reduces state power. So if you're going to pass a law like I don't know, cutting taxes, cutting licensure fees, preventing the federal government from enforcing federal gun laws in New Hampshire because we think they go against the New Hampshire Constitution, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm completely in favor of it. Those are examples of libertarian laws. And yes, exactly. A libertarian law is making it as hard as possible for the government to function. And another example of a libertarian law is that when you force the government to spend their money on something that surveils the government. Deb, cameras in classrooms is not to surveil students. Cameras in classrooms is to surveil the state. It's to give the citizenry the power to see how the state is indoctrinating their kids. That's what it's about. And I don't know why this is so confusing. The state would already has the power to put cameras in classrooms if it wanted to. The state doesn't want to do that because the state does not want to give parents the power to surveil the state. Teachers, feel free to weigh in here. Well, I think anyone can weigh in, Deb. I think anyone can weigh in. You want to know why? Because like 67% of my property tax go to fund the public school that I don't even use. I'm paying for the public schools. Everyone who pays taxes is a homeowner, is paying for the goddamn public schools. I don't need to be a teacher to weigh in on this discussion. In fact, I believe that teachers are the enemy for the most part, and we should use everything in our toolbox to surveil what they're doing because they have proven time and time and time and time and time again that they are not capable of policing their own goddamn profession. You know, people might think that I'm being unfair to teachers, but the fact of the matter is education is completely and totally effed because the so-called good public school teachers, the good ones, the ones who aren't doing any indoctrinations, the ones who just they're against all of this stuff, those people failed to police their own profession. And so even for the good school teachers, I'm sorry, you've lost your privileges. Your entire profession, from teacher education to teacher licensure to teacher professional development to all of it, has gone completely goddamn leftist, resulting in a generation of kids that doesn't know how to read. I don't care if there are so-called good teachers, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone. But when only like 36% of kids graduating from high school know how to read, 33% of them graduate from high school knowing how to write, 26% of them graduate from high school knowing how to do math, and that's all based on the nation's report card, by the way. You can look that up, nationsreportcard.gov. When the kids graduating from high school are functionally fucking illiterate, then the entire profession of teaching has lost their goddamn privileges to have an opinion on this issue because we are paying for all of them. We are paying for all of them. So I don't give a flying F how they feel about average people who are paying their goddamn salaries. About average people watching what they are teaching their kids. It makes absolutely no sense that this is something that we're even discussing. Absolutely no sense. Oh, someone's saying I didn't turn on monetization. Hang on, I can fix that. Sorry about that. Well, I guess I'll leave the chat open. You don't need to be a subscriber to chat today, I guess. But subscribe if you're enjoying it. All right, I think monetization is on now. Like reload or something. Hopefully you'll be able to send a super chat. Sorry about that. But again, like I don't even know why this is why are we even talking about this? This is like this type of issue is as simple as like me saying that like Bigfoot is obviously a trans-dimensional creature that goes in and out of dimensions, and that's why they never catch Bigfoot, because every time someone gets close to catching Bigfoot, they just go into another direction, like, or dimension rather. Like, I don't even know why this is up for debate. This seems obvious. I don't get it. So let's listen. And I can react to Deb spewing nonsense on the internet. And to all the Deb fans out there that are watching this right now, I don't really care what you think about it. I'm sure they're already reeing on Twitter like, Carlin's obsessed with Deb. Well, you know, it's Friday night. I'm chilling. What else do I have to do? And by the way, if Deb ever wants to react to one of my videos, Deb is more than welcome to do that.
Camera equipment.
Oh, hang on. We're not ready for you yet, Deb. Deb is welcome to react to my videos at any time. Do you want to know why Deb doesn't do that? Because I would eat Deb for fucking breakfast. if she dared try to react to one of my videos. So do it, stepmom. I don't care. Oh, God fucking hell, Trendlin. God. I can't do it tonight, Trendlin. I can't. I can't. Yeah, remember last time that I did a Nitwits episode about Deb? Deb literally deleted her Twitter account. Can't take the heat. Stay out of the kitchen, stepmom. All right, let's see what Deb has to say. All right, fine.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Reason We Learn. Today, I want to talk to you briefly about cameras in the classroom. I thought I was done discussing this like 2 years ago, but it came up again today in Twitter, and so I thought I would address it. I'm sure there are plenty of you watching this that will disagree with me, just like there are a lot of you who disagree with me about school choice, and that's fine. You don't have to agree. But let me lay out the case against cameras in the classroom. First of all, there's the cost. The camera equipment that you would need to put into classrooms, every classroom in your school district. Let's just take one school district. Presumably you want to put it in all the classrooms, right?
Yes.
You don't want to just put it in one or two.
All.
You're not going to single out teachers. You got to treat them equally, right? So they're going to be in all
every classroom,
the camera equipment alone.
every fucking classroom. I've never been more turned on by an idea in my life. Every fucking public school classroom. Every single goddamn classroom. That sounds like a great idea to me. And I gotta say, Deb, you can get a webcam for like $50. You can get a nicer webcam for a couple $100. Do I think it's worth it for, a couple $1,000 to outfit a fucking high school or something? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Every single goddamn classroom, Deb. Every single one.
If you wanted to live stream, so you can watch anytime you want and can somehow overcome the privacy hurdles of doing that for all the other children who aren't yours to put nanny cams in the classroom. Let's say you could do that, which I doubt. That's enormously expensive. Okay.
It's actually not that expensive. They could literally use Rumble to do this, Deb. They could literally use Rumble as they could whitelist Rumble and use this to live stream into like a private fucking portal or something, which I bet you Rumble would be more than happy to set this up. I bet you that if some fucking school district went to Rumble and said, "Can you help us create a private server to live stream what teachers are teaching in the classroom out to parents?" And we want just like a really easy stream and we want just people to be able to access it behind a password or something like that. I bet you Rumble would be able to do that, Deb. This doesn't even take creative problem solving. And if it wasn't Rumble, I bet you some other place would be like Rumble would probably fucking do that for free, Deb. Do you know how much publicity Rumble would get if they just started setting this shit up? They would probably cut them a goddamn deal to do that. They would probably be thrilled to do that. You're such good friends with everyone on the internet, Deb. Why don't you get in touch with Rumble and propose that to them? Can you help outfit classrooms to be able to live stream to parents? I bet you they'd say yes. And then they would send out a fucking press release to say, "We are making sure that classrooms are publicly accessible to parents."
Let's say it's not live streaming. Let's say it's recording, like the surveillance cameras at the convenience store or the bank or whatever. And it's just going on a loop and recording. Those things do record and they have to store the files someplace. So you're recording every hour of every day in every classroom at all times.
Yeah.
And that's got to be stored. The storage is expensive. Also has a decent sized carbon footprint as it happens. So if you're concerned about that, so you're going to store all.
Did Deb literally just make an environmental justice argument? Deb, when the public schools are captured by radical revolutionary socialists who are teaching kids fugitive pedagogy every fucking day, even in the so-called anti-woke red states, I don't give a flying effing fuck about the carbon footprint. I don't care. Like, does anyone here care more about fucking carbon footprint than they do about putting cameras in classrooms. Seems a strange argument to make, Deb, for someone who claims to be a conservative. Or, I'm sorry, is Deb a libertarian now? Oh, no, she's a conservative now because it's convenient. Oh, now she's a libertarian because she's mad at the conservatives because they got pissed off at her. No, now she's a conservative again. I can't keep track, Deb. Which are you now?
This now, who has access to it? Who owns it? Footage of your kid is on there. Footage of the teachers on there, both of whom have rights. Footage of
There's already footage that exists of the kid on the school bus, that exists of the kid in the school hallway, that exists of the kid outside the school, that exists of this kid in the school gymnasium, that exists on all the cell phones the kids are carrying around schools. The footage already exists, Deb. It already exists. You know what you do with that? You know what you do with the classroom footage? You add it to the footage that already exists. This is how you can tell that Deb has like never had a real job in her life. Okay, maybe she's worked an odd job here or there, but like this is someone that just is completely unhinged from how you actually get ideas implemented in the real world, because most of the time it's not that hard. Most of the time, you know who makes it harder to implement good ideas in the real world? Women. Women like this that are unexperienced and overthink things completely because they don't know what they're talking about, because they don't have real world experience, but they still have to inject themselves as though everyone should hang on their every fucking word. This is not that hard, Deb. This is not rocket science.
Everybody else's kids are on there and they all have rights and their parents have rights. So you now say, hey, my kid came home and said something.
If you don't want your kid to be surveilled on camera, then you shouldn't be sending your kid to public school in the goddamn first place. Public schools are public. They're government schools. They are run by the government. You do not have an expectation of privacy in a public government place.
Happened, or I heard that something happened in school and I want to see the footage. And maybe you're one of 30 parents who wants to see the footage. And now you all have to request to see the footage. They're not just going to hand it to you. You think they're just going to hand it to you?
They
No.
should.
You're going to
Yes.
have to FOIA it. It's going to have to go through a process. Then
So what?
they're going to decide that, yes, you have a reason, a good enough reason to see the footage. The footage, we hope, is not corrupted and not, broken or lost or didn't record that day or whatever.
So now Deb is just making up a scenario to say, you know what? It would be really, really difficult for you to get the footage. Even if you did have cameras in classrooms, it would just be way too impossible for you to get the footage. Deb, you can write laws that make that easier. Are the schools going to delay stuff if they're not live streaming it? Of course they are. Of course they are. Guess what? You write that into the fucking law. You write that into the law. It's public data. That's what a government school is. So you have to do it. It's going to be really hard, and you're going to have to fill out a form, and you're going to have to follow up in an email to the school. It's going to be impossible. And that is why we should not have cameras in classrooms, because it is just so goddamn impossible to get the footage in the first place. Okay. Why does Deb sound like she works for a teachers union? This is a good question. Why does Deb always, 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 always sound like controlled opposition? I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that every single thing she says sounds like controlled opposition.
Human has to go get it. Now, how are they delivering it to you? On a chip,
a
on a
file,
file, in a YouTube?
File,
not a YouTube. In an email? What? How are you getting
a download?
Okay. Do you have a lawyer that you're sending it to?
Has Deb never heard of like a fucking Google Drive? Has Deb never heard of like a private fucking Google Drive? Like, I mean, they create Deb, there's ways to transfer data. I promise you. There's ways to transfer data on the internet. They do this every fucking day.
to, like, they're just going to randomly send it to you, parent? And again, it has all the other kids on it too. Are they going to feel the need to edit it first? What if some parents don't give their permission for their kid to be on camera?
They don't get a choice.
That is their right.
No, it's not.
You've probably been
No,
given.
it's not. No, Deb, a public fucking school is a public fucking school. It is not the parent's right to say, I'm sending my kid to public school on the public dollar, but I don't want my kid to be filmed as though they're in public. And the reason I know that, Deb, is there's already cameras on the school bus, there's already cameras in the school in the school hallways, there's already cameras on the outside of the school, there's already cameras in the school gymnasium, there's already cameras in the school auditorium. Apparently there are already cameras in the school locker rooms. Have parents consented to all those? Do parents have the right to opt their kids out of all of those? Do parents have the right to opt their kids out of being filmed on cell phones that the other kids are carrying around? Are you really this fucking dumb?
Permission slips before to sign saying my kid can be on camera or not on camera for, the use of the school. Well, now they're on camera. And it will be shared with other parents about what's going on. Unless a crime has been committed and there's probable cause and there's, in the public interest for everybody to see, you're going to have to jump through some hoops, and somebody may have to edit out the faces of the other kids.
Deb, that is literally not how it works when you actually fucking legislate it. Deb just made this whole section up. Oh my God, I can't keep repeating myself the same thing. Yes, of course it's being done. Of course it's being done. Duh.
And that's because this is all being recorded by the government. Remember, these are public schools. And
exactly, Deb.
They have obligations to everybody, again, even the teacher who has a union representing them.
Oh, wait. Deb literally just took the side of the teachers' unions. Deb literally just took the side of the goddamn teachers' unions. It's the union's job to protect the privacy of the teachers, okay? And that's why we can't have cameras in classrooms, because it is the union's job to protect the teachers. Why are you shilling for the teachers' unions, Deb? Why? Why even offer that up as a point? Guys, the teachers' unions are going to make it so difficult, and that's why we can't do cameras in classrooms.
A camera in the classroom and we can just go and flip a switch and check it out whenever we feel like it. There are all these bureaucratic processes. So ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Lag time. And that's assuming the technology all works minute-wise perfect. It's also assuming that the kids being recorded can't vandalize or tamper with, or the teachers for that matter, the cameras unknown to the principal or whoever that they've done it, and they're gonna have to replace it over.
Oh no. You mean, Deb, the teachers are going to purposefully break the law by fucking with the camera, and that's a reason why we shouldn't have cameras in classrooms? Deb, you do realize, right, that the camera is going to record everything that happens to that camera, right? And so if the teacher fucked with the camera, that footage would already be recorded, which would be evidence enough and reason enough to fire the fucking teacher. You think it's a bug that teachers would fuck with the cameras? I think that's a feature. Teachers fucking with the cameras show you exactly and precisely what teachers need to be fired. So students might fuck with the cameras? Should we use that as an excuse for everything in the school? Well, we really shouldn't get new lockers because the students might fuck those up. We really shouldn't get that new video equipment because the students might fuck that up. We really shouldn't get that new Play-Doh for the kindergarten because the students might fuck that up. We really shouldn't get those new balls for the gym because the students might fuck that up. We really shouldn't get that new playground equipment because the students might fuck that up. We really shouldn't buy those books because the students are probably going to draw on them and they're going to fuck them all up. Is that an excuse we should use used for literally every single possible thing that a school could purchase, because you understand that kids are going to fuck shit up and that's just the way it goes, and you build that into the budget. If we can build diversity training and equity training into the school budget, which every school district, if every school district in the country just eliminated their fucking diversity positions, they would pay for cameras in classrooms overnight. You want to know how you're going to pay for this? Eliminate your fucking equity office. If you don't have an equity office to eliminate, we'll talk about other strategies. But every single school district in the country right now has an equity office, Deb. And if it's not called the equity office, it's called something else. If they can pay for the equity office, they can pay to fix the fucking cameras.
And over again, like they often do with the cameras outside recording traffic, although those are way higher up than they would be in the classroom. So you're going to hide them, spy cams, whatever. That's really expensive.
It's like, really not,
really
Deb.
expensive.
It's really not.
So your IT costs have gone up, your bureaucratic administrative costs have gone up. You've got some rights and insurance issues going on. You've got to have the lawyers on retainer as a school district, making sure this is all going.
Kazmar's on the school board in her school district, which is why I'm asking her this question. Kazmar, does the school have lawyers on retainer anyway? Because now Deb is saying that one of the reasons you can't have cameras in classrooms is that schools would need to have lawyers on retainers. Kazmar, can you tell me if schools have lawyers on retainers? Anyway, just as a general kind of principle, they have their school lawyer, right? Am I making things up? Doesn't that already exist? The schools already have the lawyers on retainer, Deb.
Swimmingly, and if things continue as they have been, you probably have parents asking for the footage every week, if not every day.
So what? Good.
To see what's going on.
Good.
Okay. So there's that.
Good.
There's all that as an issue. Then you have the way people behave when they know they're being recorded.
Exactly.
Don't deny it. When you go places like the bank or whatever, and you know the cameras are on you, you behave differently.
Yes.
I'm assuming.
Yes.
I do.
Exactly
I don't
the
go
point.
looking up at the camera like,
Precisely.
Here's my face. Look here.
Precisely.
I have nothing to hide.
Precisely.
I just don't really feel like having my face on camera for whoever's watching. I'm there. They don't need to see my face. So kids will gradually learn, as if they're not looking down too much as it is at their phones or at screens, whatever, not to look up in the vicinity of the camera. So it'll be harder to identify who's doing anything. They are now have
Deb, the point of cameras in classrooms is not to surveil the students. The point of cameras in classrooms is to surveil the teachers. Why is Deb arguing as though the point of this is to surveil the students? The point is to point the fucking camera at the fucking board to see what the teachers are teaching. I don't care if the students look at the camera or not. The students looking at the camera or not make no difference. I would prefer as much caution be taken as possible to make sure the camera is zoomed in on the area at the front of the classroom where the teacher is teaching. And if you do that, honestly, you're going to be hitting the back of the students' heads anyway. Or have it be from a camera on the teacher's desk at the front of the classroom pointing at the fucking teacher. Cameras aren't very big. It's not like it would be intrusive. Why doesn't Deb understand this?
Many schools don't have dress codes. So they'll probably be wearing hoodies or hats or whatever.
So
They'll change their behavior to make it a little bit harder to be seen on the camera as different from any other kid.
They shouldn't even be on the camera in the first place.
They are shy or have something to hide. Or conversely, if they're very performative, as some kids are, and want to be on the camera footage or want things to be recorded, just like they do when they're in the school with their cell phones recording fights constantly, they're going to take on a more performative.
So you're suggesting, Deb, You're suggesting that there might be kids who want to be on camera, and you're suggesting that those kids already have cell phone cameras in which they can record themselves. Did I just hear that correctly? Deb is like, you know what's going to happen when you have cameras in classrooms? All of these kids are going to want to cause trouble, and they're going to want to be on the camera, and they're just going to be performing for the camera just like they perform when they take out their cell phones. So you're saying they're already doing it anyway, Deb? You're saying that the thing that you just said is a reason why we can't have cameras in classrooms? The kids are literally already doing it anyway? Doesn't seem like a big loss there. If kids want to be performative, let them be fucking performative. Who cares?
Affect than they otherwise would have, because they know they're being recorded at all times. It is also possible that people will instigate things more to get people on camera doing things to get them in trouble, because we already know that happens
They
too
already
with just
do
the
that
cell
with
phone
their
cameras.
cell phones. The
presence of cameras has changed.
Deb, they literally already instigate and they use their cell phone cameras to film it. So I, again, don't know what the difference is. What is the difference between the school recording something that happens in the classroom and a kid recording it on their cell phone? It's going to happen one way or the other. Having cameras in classrooms does not make it more or less likely that it's going to happen.
Changed the way discipline works in school, the way kids interact with each other, the way teachers do everything. We know it's already affected how police. They don't want to be recorded doing anything and having it twisted out of context. How do you think the teachers are going to feel? Now you're all out there assuming all the teachers are terrible. All the teachers are horrible, terrible, evil,
yes.
indoctrinators, etc.
Yes.
But they're not all that way.
Yes, they
Some
are.
of them are just,
The teachers that are not horrible indoctrinators have allowed this shit to happen in the first place. I don't have any sympathy for them. They don't get points for being a good fucking teacher. They're the ones that have sat back and said, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. And I don't want to lose my job. And I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. And I don't want to lose my job. Please don't take my job from me. I'm going to look the other way. I'm going to look the other way as you're indoctrinating kids into a far left political ideology and socially transitioning them at schools. I'm just going to look the other way. Those are not fucking good teachers. I'm sorry. The so-called good teachers are keeping their heads down and not saying anything while these schools fuck up these kids' lives by making them think they're another gender. Those are not good teachers. Those are not fucking heroes. If you're sitting by and watching other teachers socially transition the gender of kids and you're saying nothing, you are not a good teacher.
Useless, basically, but they're not horrible people, and you're treating them like criminals who need to be recorded at all times. There already is a teacher shortage.
That is the cost of your fucking state-funded salary. If you want a government job, then those are the hits you take, man. Police officers literally have to wear cameras strapped to their body, Deb. Why is Deb pro-indoctrination? Why does Deb sound like a leftist? Why is Deb defending the teachers' unions? Teachers are government employees. If you work in the government, you are recorded at all times. This is not difficult, Deb. And if you don't like it, then don't work a fucking government job. Go do something else.
Who like to make it worse. Because I'll tell you right now, I already have about 10 different reasons I won't set foot in a classroom again. And this would add another to it. And I've talked to other teachers and they feel the same. They don't want to
Good. Don't step foot in a classroom again. And if you don't want to step foot in a classroom, Deb, you probably shouldn't be tutoring kids either. I'm really glad we had this conversation, Deb, because if you don't want to step foot in a classroom because people might see what you are teaching in that classroom, that probably means you shouldn't be tutoring kids either. What type of job are you trying to get right now, Deb? Are you trying to get jobs tutoring on the internet? Because I swear I saw something online about you applying for tutoring jobs and complaining about your interview schedule for the tutoring jobs. If you're not willing to go back and teach kids in the classroom, when you are the certified teacher, aren't you, Deb? If you aren't willing to do that because someone might see what you're teaching, then why the fuck should anyone trust you with their kids? Why should they trust you? If you're not doing anything wrong, you would have no problem being recorded. Rottweiler, that's why I quit my teaching job after being sent to an SEL conference and started my own Sunday anti-Marxist workshop for homeschooling parents. Isn't that funny, Deb? Thank you, Rottweiler.
Recorded constantly. It's already a job where you feel like you can't even be a professional because of all the things that you're asked to do. And now you're going to surveil. You're guilty till proven innocent.
Yes.
We got to have you on constant
Yes.
surveillance. Name me another profession that has to have that isn't like handling other people's money or whatever, where you could like just shove it in your pocket.
Police officers. Police officers have to have that. Pretty much Deb, did you know that most people in most organizations have every fucking keystroke on their computer recorded? There are cameras in every store at the fucking mall. Every store at the mall where people are stocking things or like, you know, whatever, like helping customers or whatever, they're being recorded at all times. People in restaurants are being recorded at all times. People in movie theaters are being recorded at all times. In every fucking office in the country, people are being recorded at all times. They're either being recorded with visual cameras or they're being recorded by keystrokes on their computer. There's a camera on every fucking corner on every city street. Are we really pretending that people are not recorded in the professional world?
And you might say, well, we're dealing with our kids. Really? Again, if you genuinely believe that your child's teacher or your child's school is abusing them behind those closed doors and indoctrinating them to the level where you want to hear every single word that's said, and that's not just a camera, by the way, that's audio recording, which is even harder to get right without lots of money. You get rid of the distortion and the noise and everything going on to isolate who is speaking and what exactly did they say. How many videos have you seen on YouTube where you're like, wait, who said what to, wait, what?
Deb, there is one voice that matters on that recording, and that is the teacher. The teacher is the only voice that matters, Deb. I don't give a flying fuck what the students have to say. The students are students. This isn't about them. This is about the teachers.
And cell phone cameras are pretty good, and they pick up the audio pretty well. But when there's noise going on, and especially if the camera's way up high so someone can't vandalize it, like, are you thinking it through? So if
Deb, what do you have sitting in front of you right there? Does anyone know what does Deb have sitting in front of her? Does anyone want to take a guess of what Deb is talking into literally right now? What is that thing called? The name of that thing that Deb has sitting in front of her eludes me. What is that thing that Deb has sitting in front of her that she's talking into that is picking up her audio? What is that called? Does anyone know in the chat what's that called? Is that called a microphone? Deb, are you speaking into a microphone? Does Deb have a microphone? Is that a microphone? Am I like just like making shit up? That's a microphone, right? Yeah, that's a microphone. Deb, do you know what they can do? Teachers could literally wear microphones, Deb. Like that, I'm not sure that's like the best case scenario, to be honest. I think probably it would be better if like some sort of microphone could get put at the teacher desk to be able to better pick up on the teacher voice. Just have the microphone sitting there. I'm sure there are microphones that do this. Or the teachers could be wearing a microphone It could be part of their job to wear a little tiny, tiny microphone. They can wear it around their neck. They can wear it like pinned to their collar or something like that. And that microphone goes into that camera. And that way you're going to pick up the most perfect, beautiful audio. This is like, Deb, I know you don't have a lot of experience presenting at conferences. I know I have significantly more experience than you do presenting at conferences. But, I had to do this every single conference I went to present at. They would give me a lav mic that I had to pin to my thing. And I put the fucking cord down my back. And then I put the battery pack on my belt. I had to do that every single time I spoke at a conference, Deb, because I was for some reason, every single conference talk I gave was like always recorded with a video camera and the microphone, and they always wanted me to wear the microphone so they could pick up the audio because, if they can record every single conference presentation that's like ever been given ever, I have to believe that there's a way to record teachers in the classrooms. Deb, are you a paid NEA member? I mean, like don't even GoPros do this? Like, couldn't you just stick a fucking GoPro to a teacher's desk? Like, am I making this up?
If you really feel like that, get your kid out of the damn school. This is your responsibility.
Smartest things
Obligating
Deb said all
taxpayers to
night.
put in nanny cams so you can feel better, like it's going to capture everything and that's going to hold everybody accountable. Teachers are going to stop indoctrinating if they know they're on camera.
Yeah,
You don't
a lot of them
understand how
would.
the indoctrination works if you say that.
Deb, you don't even understand how the indoctrination works. You don't understand it, Deb. Deb literally tweeted at me. Well, she subtweeted me. Deb never directly talks to me publicly. She just subtweets me all the time and makes AI art about me. But Deb literally subtweeted at me like a week ago that she doesn't understand why anyone does this stupid thing called Spy Stream, where we go into private teacher trainings and we see what they're talking about. Deb doesn't understand why anyone does that. Deb thinks that's stupid because Deb claims that we already know everything the teachers are teaching anyway, and so we don't need to do Spy Stream because we already know what every teacher is teaching anyway. So Deb seems to be coming up with a lot of arguments about why we can't look at what teachers are teaching behind closed doors. Why is she doing that, do you think? Why has Deb in the past couple weeks made at least 2 arguments that I've seen? And I don't look at everything that Deb says and does because I'm not that much of a masochist. But why does Deb continue to make arguments over and over and over and over again about why we can't see what teachers are actually teaching? Is it because she's trying to get a job in the schools right now? Could that be why? Is Deb trying to get a job in the schools? Is that a real thing? I don't know. I don't know. Mac B says, my third grade teacher used a microphone and programmed it to his class speakers. Deb, if teachers wore microphones, not only could their audio be better recorded, but maybe students in the class could better hear them. Because Deb is insinuating that one of the reasons that we can't have cameras in classrooms is there's just going to be all this noise in classrooms. All this noise. And because of all the noise in the classroom, that means that the camera is not going to be able to pick up the audio. So you know how we could get around that, Deb? The teachers could wear a microphone. They could wear a lav microphone. They could charge it every night. It would be great. And that lav microphone can not only be used to make sure that every student in the class can clearly hear what they're saying above and beyond all of the noise that you say exists in the classroom, but it could also lead to a better audio recording so parents could be really sure they know what those teachers are teaching. I think that's a great idea.
If you think it's something you can see on a camera, if you think it's something you're going to hear, even listening to hours, look, y'all, I make videos. I show you curriculum. I explain it to you. I translate it. And I still have parents going, huh? And yet they know that the kids are graduating little,
Could that be, Deb, because you suck at what you do? So you're telling me Deb, you've made videos for years trying to be me. You've made videos for years trying to be me. in which you have shown parents the curriculum that their kids are teaching, but you do a really shitty job of teaching it, and so parents still don't understand what they're looking at? Could it be, Deb, that you're just a really shitty teacher? Because when I show my audience things, my audience understands it. Okay, sometimes every once in a while, my audience descends into the land of retardia. Every now and again, they descend into the land of retardia. We have to make allowances, you know. Beggars can't be choosers. But most of the time when I'm trying to teach my audience something, I explain it and then I make sure they understand it before I move on. So, why aren't you doing a better job of working with your audience to make sure they understand what you're teaching them before you move on to something else? Might be something to think about. Deb, if you want to pursue a career as a teacher, then you might want to make sure that the people that you're teaching are actually learning. Just a thought. Constructive criticism.
Activists and whatnot. How did that happen? I don't understand. It's happening. Like, just believe it. The indoctrination, it's in the readings that are on their Chromebook. You going to see that on camera? Go look at their damn Chromebook. Oh, I can't see it. That's a bigger problem. Get your kid out of the school. So like every problem that you have that you think is going to show up on the camera, be recorded with the audio, is something that is you're not going to be able to hear or see well enough, or that won't sound like what you think. They're not going to. And now open your books to CRT 101. That's not how it's going to happen. That's not how it works. That's why I spend the time that I do explaining to you what it does sound like and the language that they do use and the readings and how the reading is the thing, whatever. As far as, they're teaching porn in the classroom, you already know they are. Full stop. Do you really need to see on camera? You just
wait. Deb, did you really just make the argument that parents already know that they're teaching porn in the classroom, and so we definitely don't need that recorded? We definitely don't need to record teachers teaching literal porn in the classroom because you already just intuitively know? And that's a reason why we don't. Deb, did you honestly just say that the reason that we don't need cameras in classrooms is because teachers are obviously and clearly teaching porn in the classrooms? That just happened, right? I'm not making that up. Let's listen to that again. Deb just said that the reason that we don't need cameras in the classrooms is that teachers are obviously and clearly teaching porn, and it really just we don't need to get that on the record at all. We just need to trust and believe that they're obviously teaching porn, and that belief is enough.
One. That's not how it's going to happen. That's not how it works. That's why I spend the time that I do explaining to you what it does sound like and the language that they do use and the readings and how the reading is the thing, whatever. As far as, they're teaching porn in the classroom, you already know they are. Full stop. Do you really need to see on camera?
Yes. Deb, if they're teaching porn in the classroom, I damn well want to see it on camera. Absolutely. How many people in the chat do you guys want to, if they're really teaching porn in the classroom, how many people in the chat want to make sure we get that on camera? Yes, Deb. Yes, we want to see the teachers teaching porn on camera, Deb. Yes, we do. Yes, exactly. Yes, Deb, we want to see that. Do you want to know why, Deb? Because not everyone knows. Not everyone knows. Not everyone knows what's being taught in the classroom. Just because you claim you know what's being taught in the classroom doesn't mean everyone knows what's being taught in the classroom. And if we don't have it on fucking camera to show people what is being taught in the classroom, no one would believe it. Like, do you really think that normies know as much about this shit as we do, Deb? You don't even know as much as I do about this shit. You think that normies know what's going on? Deb, do you really have any sense of how to teach people at all? Like, Normal people don't want to face this stuff. And so if I can get a teacher on camera literally teaching porn, then I want to do that. Yeah, you're fucking right, I do. And then I want to put that on the internet, and I want to make sure every parent that has a kid in public school in the country sees that video. This is a no-brainer. Do you really think that people are so offended by porn and porn being on camera at all that they aren't going to want to get a recording of a teacher teaching porn to their kids? And guess what? You might argue, well, recording the teacher, Carlin, would prevent them from teaching porn in the first place. Good. If putting a camera in that teacher's classroom prevents them from teaching the porn that you say that they're obviously teaching in the first place, if that's the deal, then fucking good. Mission accomplished, man.
Take it on faith. They are.
Why?
Oh, they might be lying to you. Okay, if you think they might be lying to you.
Why do we need to take it on faith if we can get it on video, Deb? We don't need to take anything on faith. We don't need to say, pinky swear, trust me, bro. If we can get it on video, we don't need to take it on faith, and neither does any other parent need to take it on faith.
To you, then they are. If you have that little trust in them, they are. Leave. I'm serious. You're not going to capture this on a camera. They will work around it. They already work around laws in the state of Florida.
And make them work around. Wait. What is Deb about to say? Hang on. What is Deb about to say? Deb, are you about to say they already work around laws in the state of Florida? Deb. How do you know, Deb? How do you know that they're already working around laws in the state of Florida? How do you know that, Deb? How could that be that I recorded a socialist at the socialism conference saying that they are working around laws in the state of Florida? Deb, are you copying my work again? Deb, do you hang on every single thing that I say and do on the internet? Is that what we're... Let's just see. Let's go back. We have to move on from the fact that Deb doesn't want us to record teachers teaching porn in the classroom. I feel like we've covered that point. Yeah, Deb, it kind of feels like you just got busted, Deb. Kind of feels like you got busted. Kind of feels like you're talking about original undercover journalism that I did, that you don't want to acknowledge that I did it because your feelings are more important than reality. But let's just listen. Maybe she's going in a different direction.
They are. Leave. I'm serious. You're not going to capture this on a camera. They will work around it. They already work around laws in the state of Florida around doing all kinds of things they're not supposed to do. They're doing it anyway. They just found workarounds, and they will find workarounds the camera. You're just going to spend a lot.
How did they find workarounds, Deb? How do you know that, Deb? What are their workarounds, Deb? Why aren't you explaining to parents who might be watching this video right now what the workarounds to the laws in Florida are? We know what the workarounds are. Hang on. Let's just go back. Let's just go back. Hang on. Let's remind ourselves of how they're working around this in Florida. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going to the highlights section of my Twitter page, and I'm scrolling down through all the undercover and independent journalism that I've done, all of my best stories in the highlights page of my Twitter tab, and I'm looking for one in particular. I'm looking, oh, there he is. Because on September 8th, 2023, I released this recording of Jesse Hagopian, our favorite Seattle public school teacher, talking exactly and explicitly about how he's working around laws in Florida. Let's listen.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm Jesse Hagopian. I'm a teacher in Seattle, and I work with Black Lives Matter at School and the Zen Education Project and Rethinking Schools. So I've actually got to Zoom in and do meetings with classrooms in Florida and with some bold teachers who invited us into the classroom in the tradition of fugitive pedagogy, smuggling in contraband curriculum, showing the film, uh, The Rebellious Life of Mrs. Rosa Parks, and then having us come and discuss systemic racism in a state where it's illegal. And so that rebellion is inspiring to me, and telling teachers in my state to do this work if they can do it in those conditions, right? So I thank you all for the work you are doing, the fight that you're putting up. That's really a fight for all of us, because we know what they are incubating in Florida is about exporting it all across the country, and we're already seeing that, right? When Florida banned the AP African American Studies curriculum, the response wasn't a rebellion for ethnic studies all across the country. The response from the College Board was, okay, cool, we'll cut everything that you wanted out of it. So the word systemic does not exist in AP African American curriculum anymore. That is not an advanced course. If you can't talk about systemic racism, you're just lying about this country, right? They are now exporting the don't say gay, don't say trans laws across the country now that Florida is not the only state now, right? So they are incubating this fascism and working on ways to export it. I think that one of the ways we need to understand what's happening right now to understand how to defeat it is to look at the McCarthy era, because the Red Scare and the Lavender Scare are the playbook I think that they're drawing from very consciously. Label anything that you don't like communism and then fire the people, right? So thousands of teachers lost their jobs across the country as a result of the Red Scare. And the Lavender Scare, actually, more people were fired from the federal government for being labeled homosexual than even red, right? Even a communist. And specifically in Florida, the Johns Committee was set up to interrogate teachers, to bring them from their classrooms to sit before a committee in the 40s and 50s and have to defend their sexuality. And if you were just a single woman teacher, you were under suspicion of being lesbian and were often fired, right? And that they're very consciously reviving.
Way. You guys get the idea. You guys get the idea. But Deb, I do want to thank you for teaching people so stunningly and bravely that that teachers are subverting the laws in Florida. I can't imagine where you got that idea, Deb. I can't imagine where that came from. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a camera in every public school classroom in Florida? Or across the country, for that matter. I would do it in every state, in every school, in every classroom, in every state. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a camera in every classroom in the United States to show us when teachers are trying to subvert the laws that are on the books so we can fire those teachers? Wouldn't that be nice, Deb? I think that would be nice.
A lot of money and jump through a lot of hoops to get things that are going to disappoint you, because you're not going to find what you think you're going to find. Your kids will behave differently. The teachers will behave differently.
Good.
And
it is, again, it is not a bug. It is not a loss if the teachers behave differently. If all that is required to change the behavior of activist teachers is to put a fucking camera in their classroom and then they start actually teaching real shit, that's a fucking victory. That is like the best. You're telling me, Deb, that when we have reading scores, 36% of kids graduating from high school not knowing how to read. Excuse me, knowing how to read, not knowing how to read. 36% of kids graduating from high school knowing how to read. 33% of kids graduating from high school knowing how to write. 26% of kids graduating from high school knowing how to do math. That's all part of the nation's report card, nationsreportcard.gov. You can go and fact check me. You're telling me that the easiest solution we have to make teachers behave differently is putting a camera in that fucking classroom, putting a $100 webcam in that classroom, and we're not doing it? Why? If the Deb, what you don't seem to understand is that if the camera catches the teacher doing nothing wrong, that is the best case goddamn scenario. Don't you think that would restore faith in the public schools, Deb? Don't you think that would restore faith in teachers? You want to complain about all these parents who think that teachers are like all teachers are bad, and no, not all teachers are bad, just some teachers are bad. No, I would say all teachers are bad, but let's live in this fantasy land, Deb, that you seem to have, in which all public school teachers are great, and you think that putting a camera in classrooms to show just how awesome the public school teachers are and how they're really not doing anything wrong, you think that's a problem? I think that's a way to restore faith in the public schools if that's what's actually happening.
And the learning that goes on, that even could go on, is going to be even less because of the surveillance. The things you think are going to happen are not going to happen. Like I said, my favorite one was, well, they'll think twice about indoctrinating our kids if they're on camera.
Yep.
Didn't you discover them doing it, piped into your house on Zoom during COVID? Were they thinking twice about it? No, they're proud of it.
No, they weren't thinking twice, because that was the first time that people actually saw into the classroom, Deb. You know, Deb, do you want to know why the teachers weren't thinking twice? Because the teachers have been trained in this from the time they were an undergraduate in college. The teachers don't think they're doing anything wrong. This is the only way they've ever been taught to teach, Deb. When you have an industry that has been taken over for at least 3 fucking generations, and this is the only way that most teachers have ever been taught to teach, you're goddamn right they're not thinking they're doing anything wrong. This is their college education. This is their graduate school. This is their professional development. This is everything they talk about in every fucking teacher training. They don't think they're doing anything wrong, Deb. Do you want to know why so many of them were surprised to get caught in 2020? When people finally started to see what they were actually teaching in the classroom? Because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. But now they fucking know. Now they know. Because there's been such an uproar over all this stuff. Now they know that it is us versus them. And you want to take their fucking side. You want to say, no, there are so many good teachers out there. No, they're not all bad. Promise, pinky swear, bro. They're not, even the ones that are upholding the system, and even the ones that are looking the other way as schools socially transition the gender of your kids, even the ones that are, not doing anything to do anything about any of this. You want to look the other way and defend the teachers over defending the ability of parents to protect their kids.
Who are doing it think they're doing good. I shouldn't say think, they know they're doing good. They firmly believe it. So why would they stop doing it on camera? And then you go, I got them on camera saying that social justice is the entire purpose of education, and that, white people are bad, and blah, 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 blah. And well, okay, now if you have a law in your state that's illegal, you might have a case, but if you don't, it's free speech. What are you
Well, no, oh my fucking God, Deb is so fucking stupid. Deb, teachers do not have free speech in the classroom. If your state doesn't have a law on the books, do you know how you can make the case to get a law on the books, Deb? Do you know how you can make the case to get a law on the books? You fucking record the teachers doing it. And by the way, if you really are stupid enough to think that they're actually teaching that all white people are bad in school, which is not actually what they're teaching, that just shows us that you haven't done your basic homework to realize how the indoctrination is actually happening. So you've really learned nothing, Deb. You have learned nothing in the 3 fucking years since I last deigned to lower myself to speak to you. How much do you want to bet that Deb is a closeted Marxist? I am absolutely convinced that Deb is controlled opposition. 100%. There's not even like a doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind at all. Seriously. That's why Deb works so closely with Moms for Liberty, because Moms for Liberty is also controlled opposition. If people haven't figured that out yet, I don't know where you've been. Moms for Liberty is controlled opposition. I'm very sorry. I'm not talking about the parents. I'm not talking about like normal moms and dads who are just in a local Moms for Liberty organization and you go to your school board meetings and you give your speeches. I'm not talking about you. You're fine. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the national organization that is controlled opposition that works with people like Deb Fillman to keep people distracted from what is actually harming their kids. The National Moms for Liberty organization is controlled opposition, and you will never convince me otherwise. I have said it from day one of this book banning bullshit. They are controlled opposition. They are distracting people from what the real issues are. They have done more harm to the so-called anti-woke movement than any organization in the United States, and the left fucking loves them. The left loves Moms for Liberty. They love them. They use them every single chance that they get to recruit more leftists, to activate more leftists, to do more shit in schools, because the left knows that as long as Moms for Liberty have conservatives distracted by looking over here, looking over here, looking over here, this is what's really going on, we promise. The left is over here doing the magic trick. Moms for Liberty is the twirling magician's assistant over here, and she's got the boobs out and the butt out, and she's got the sparkly dress, and she's twirling across that stage when the left is doing their trick over here. But you're looking over here at the magician's assistant, which is Moms for Liberty, but the left is really over here. The left knows this. Moms for Liberty is controlled opposition. Thank you, Kazmar. I appreciate you.
Do. You got them on camera. Super. And your point is what?
That we got them on camera.
It really comes down to this.
Are you fucking shitting me?
If you are so keen on watching every moment of what your child is learning.
Never. I am never unblocking Brittany, and I'm never unblocking Mio. They had their chance. They had a chance, and I gave them an opportunity. And they didn't want to take it because they didn't want to be serious about it. So never. I'm never unblocking them. I'm never interacting with them. Mio can call me fat all he wants. Brittany can be as jealous as she fucking wants about me talking to big tech. But I'm never unblocking either of them.
In school. If you really think you're going to devote the time to watching these surveillance footage or putting in the FOIAs to watch it, then I have to ask, why don't you homeschool? You obviously have a fair amount of time on your hands because it takes time. Ask the police how long it takes to watch video surveillance footage to find just one event that might have occurred in a day. Unless you know the exact timestamp and are sure you got it, you're looking through a lot of footage and you put in that FOIA and you just know, well, sometime last week, my kid said, good luck. Now they got to go pull it.
Oh, we might have to work hard. Oh, no.
That you're paying for.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Deb. People might actually have to do work. People might actually have to watch video and do work. Oh, no, we wouldn't want that. Deb, it kind of sounds like you're blaming a rape victim for being a victim. It kind of sounds like you're saying, you know what, rape victim, you really shouldn't report that rape to the police because, they're going to make you relive the whole thing and you're going to have to relive it over and over and over again. And it's your word against his. and no one's going to believe you. And how many drinks did you have that night, rape victim? How many drinks did you have that? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because, you were wearing a really short skirt that night. And I think that, you obviously wanted it. And I think it's going to be that's kind of what you sound like right now, Deb. That's literally what you're saying. You're saying, parents, it's going to be really, really, really hard to hold people accountable. And so I don't even know why you bother. I don't know why. It really is a waste of your time, and you're going to have to spend so much time, and it's going to be so hard, and really you're not going to get anywhere anyway. So I don't know why you just don't give up and take your toys and go home.
And at some point they're going to have to erase footage. So how far back you want them to go? Every time this comes up, I think people absolutely watch too many movies and they don't understand how this works at all.
You're the one that doesn't understand how this works.
It is not a slam dunk by any means. It is not a solution. It's not even a stopgap. They're like, well, that's better than nothing.
What is your alternative, Deb? Do you have any ideas? Do you have any plan? Do you have any argument? Do you have any vision? Do you have any alternative at all? Or are you just trying to browbeat people on the fucking internet?
It's a trade-off. It may not be a solution, but it's a trade-off. What are you trading, though? Trading already crappy education with already too much going on with the data surveillance on their computers and devices, and you're trading it for what? Some illusion of peace of mind for you because you falsely believe that people will behave better when they're not on camera instead of.
So Deb has no plan, is what we're hearing. There's no alternative. It's just, if you're going to send your kids to public school, then you get what you get. And if you don't like it, then you should pull your kids out of public school. Now, the smartest thing that Deb has said in this entire video is that you should pull your kids out of public school. Yeah. You really should. But Deb, do you know how we can convince more parents to pull their kids out of public school? By showing them fucking video of teachers teaching porn. By showing them fucking video of teachers teaching this race bullshit. Of showing them fucking video of teachers talking about abolishing capitalism, abolishing the police, blatantly shilling for fucking Marxism. What if we had an entire fucking library of video, Deb, where we had teachers on video teaching every single bad thing in the world? And we could go out, stand on a fucking street corner with a fucking computer and say, can you watch this video of teachers teaching crazy shit? Did you know this is happening at the public school right over there? Do you know what they're teaching your kids? Do you know how you want to get parents to pull their kids out of public school? That's exactly what you do.
Potentially worse, or at least no different. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about it. Y'all can disagree all you want.
Oh, I do.
Or you can come out with it. There's cheap cameras and
Yeah.
This is government. They're going to buy cheap cameras?
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
What?
I don't give a fuck. I don't care if every camera they buy is $1,000. I don't care if every camera they buy is $5,000. I don't give a flying fuck how much this costs. If they want to defund their equity departments to pay for it, then they can do it. But you saying it's just so expensive, so we really shouldn't even try. I don't give a fuck how expensive it is. Deb is the kind of person who will have an indoctrinated trans non-binary kid and cry to James Lindsay asking why. Deb is the kind of person whose own daughter would hate her so much that she would literally run away from home, and then she would cry all over the internet about it. And then she wonders why people don't think her kids love her.
But it has to be withstood in that setting. And as I said, do the math. I want you to go right now. If you support cameras in classroom for your district, go right now and do the math. How many classrooms are there in your district?
I don't care.
How many are you going to put them in?
All of them. All.
And then I want you to go and I want you to price the cameras that would do the sufficient quality.
I don't care.
Then go price some servers.
I don't care.
To store video footage that is clear enough, high fidelity,
we've already
high
talked
fidelity
about
enough
this
sound and clear enough video footage that it's going to make a difference in any kind of a legal case or a dispute that you might have.
Deb, do you know that there are people who run marathons with like a GoPro attached to their hat, and they're somehow able to record every single thing that happens on a 26-mile run on a little tiny video camera on their hat, including audio? Do you know there are people who jump off cliffs with a little they're holding a camera? Do you know people there are people who jump out of hot air balloons with parachutes, holding a stick with a fucking camera on the like? Do you know, Deb? Have you kept track of like what people can do with technology? Because you're making this sound like a Herculean feat to attach a fucking GoPro to the front of every teacher's desk, facing at the goddamn board. Or like if the teacher's desk isn't in front of the board, fine, you put another fucking table or some sort of stand there and you attach the fucking camera that is pointed at the board and you get what you get. This is not rocket science.
You might want to use it in, because what are you going to do with it once you get it? That's the only thing I forgot to mention. What are you going to do with it? You got the footage. Let's say it shows everything you feared.
You put it on the internet. You put it on the internet. You put it on the fucking internet.
Mao in front of the whole class.
You put it on the internet.
What they need to do is go out and foment revolution on the streets.
Yeah.
Let's say you catch it on camera. Now what?
You put it on the fucking internet.
The teachers.
If you ever get footage of a teacher standing at the front of the classroom like fucking Mao, telling students to go out and foment revolution in their town, I want you to email it to me. I want you to DM it to me on Twitter. I want you to contact me on Discord. I want you to do whatever you need to do to get that footage to me. And if you don't want to put it on the internet, then I will put it on the internet for you. I'm deadly serious about that. Actively unwoke at gmail.com. DM me on Twitter. My DMs are open. I check them all the time. You can DM me on Instagram if you want to. I don't check those as much. You should probably DM me on Twitter, but definitely DM me somewhere. Send me that fucking footage. Tag me on Twitter until I fucking respond. If you need to tag me 150 times on Twitter, which you'll probably need to do a lot less than that. But if you need to tag me over and over and over and over and over again with that fucking footage, I will share it. Give it to the evil empire of fucking libs of TikTok, and libs of TikTok will share it. Send it to Fox News, send it to Newsmax, send it to The Blaze, send it to the Daily Wire, send it to the Washington Free Beacon, send it to Daily Signal, send it to fucking everyone. That's what you do with the footage, Deb. You send it to everyone. You make sure that people fucking see it.
Praising Mao in the classroom. What do you want us to do about it? Fire them for free speech? What? They can't just say whatever they want in the classroom, can't they, though?
No, they can't. They can't. Why doesn't Deb know that the Supreme Court has literally already decided on this? Hang on. Stand by. Teacher free speech. Hang on. Why doesn't Deb know this? Why doesn't Deb know this? Why doesn't Deb know this? We're on a website called the Free Speech Center at Middle Tennessee State University. I want to go down to something really specific. Public employees, hang on, I'll make this bigger. Public employees no longer retain First Amendment protections for speech as part of their official duties. Teachers asserting a First Amendment violation must now clear an additional hurdle as the Supreme Court's decision in Garcetti via Caballos. In Garcetti, the courts ruled that public employees do not retain First Amendment protection for speech as part of their official job duties. Garcetti v. Cabal. I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's the Garcetti case. Why doesn't Deb know about the Garcetti case? Teachers do not have free speech rights in the classroom. They don't. They haven't since 2006. Why doesn't Deb Fillman know this? Why do I know this and Deb Fillman doesn't? Why am I acknowledging this and Deb Fillman isn't? Minute and a half more. Almost done.
They kind of can. I mean, there's some limits, I suppose. They can't, solicit sex from the kids. They can't, stand there and curse at the kids. They can't be abusive. Well, they do that sometimes anyway. But you really think they can't stand there and praise Mal? Of course they can.
Not if there's a law against it, Deb.
You really think
Not
they
if
can't
there's a
stand there
law
and bash
against it.
Trump? Of course they can. But the only thing they've not gotten away with was bashing parents. That didn't work out so well in a Utah classroom about a year ago. But yeah, they can say these things, and the school district is very, very unlikely to fire them. Remember, the union will come.
I literally just spilled my water all over. I fucking knocked my water all over something. And now there's water all over my desk. Hang on. We're going to finish this. And I'm going to clean up my water. Hang on. I'm back. Sorry. I literally spilled my water all over my desk. It's all over my mouse. Whatever.
Get them on. So they'll get a slap on the wrist. Oh, you should probably be a little less overt in your political stuff. Okay, sorry. And they'll go back to doing what they were doing before the very next day. Did you win? Did something good happen? What happened? Meanwhile, all the other days that your kid had to sit there and all the other kids had to sit there and all the other parents had to wonder if some creepy parent who just wants to watch every minute of their child's life is going to solicit all of the footage for all year and sit there and watch it for some reason. I don't know why you would want other people watching your...
Wait. Deb is honestly arguing that any parent who wants to be informed about what their kids are learning in school is a creepy parent? Is that the argument that I just heard? Oh. Deb, seriously.
Kid go to school. If you have these kinds of fears that you want to put cameras in a classroom, pull your kid out of school. That should be your litmus test. You want to have eyes on what they're doing? Get them home or get them into a school where you don't have this fear. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. So thanks for watching. I really, really, really hope this idea dies and gets buried and we don't bring it up again because it is one of the dumber ones I've heard.
Yes, Deb. Yes. We know that you hope this idea dies, Deb, because you are controlled opposition that wants to undermine parental rights at every single goddamn step. You are the one that hates parents. You are the one who thinks parents are just too lazy to find out what's going on in their kids' lives. You are the ones that doesn't want parents to know about what their kids are actually learning. You are the one that doesn't want us to have video of all the fucked up shit that kids are doing in school. And really, Deb, we know that ultimately the reason that you're against this idea is not because you have any hard principles against surveillance in school, because they're already being surveilled in school. We all know that the real reason you're against this idea is because I came up with it, and I was the one that went viral on Twitter with it, to the tune of 2 million views before Matt Walsh fucking stole it and pretended it was his, and you're fucking jealous. 2.5 years later, Deb, almost 3 years later, you're jealous that it didn't come from you. And your number one priority over every other priority that you may claim to pretend to have is to be against every single thing that I do. Because you're not actually in favor of parents. You don't give a flying fuck about parents. You're not actually in favor of ending bad schooling because you don't give a flying fuck about that. All you really care about is about funding your fucking tutoring business when you already said that you don't want to be a teacher in the classroom because people might actually want to see what you're teaching. If you're afraid of seeing people seeing what you're teaching, Deb, then why do you want to be a tutor? Why are you applying for tutoring jobs? Maybe, Deb, maybe what you really need is to get laid. Maybe what you really need is to get laid. Deb, we were just talking about the secretary earlier on my other stream. Maybe, Deb, watching the secretary with your husband that I think you still have. You're still married, right? I know the marriage was on the rocks for a little while. And then it seems that you cajoled him to come back. So you're still married, right? You have a husband, you have a dick available to you. Why don't you guys sit down and watch The Secretary and maybe you learn a thing or two? And maybe if you do that, you would be able to remove the giant stick from your ass and actually be able to focus on things that matter. Because Deb, this ain't it. Not it. Every single thing that you said sounds like it came from the fucking teachers union. If you want to be on the teachers union side, that's your business, of course. But I don't know why anyone would trust you to teach their kids if you're on the side of the teachers unions. Maybe that's just me. Just me. All right, guys. Well, I have water spilled all over my desk. So I need to clean that up. But thank you guys for spending some time with me. I really do appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. where we will be watching. Hang on. We will be watching at 6 p.m. Oh, there we go. A presentation from a podcast called The Red Nation called Romantic Love is a Weapon of Capitalism. Join me at 6 p.m. tomorrow for Socialism Saturday, where we talk about how romantic love is a tool of capitalism. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.